Page jeans, page jeans, page jeans, page jeans. Hi everyone, I'm not wearing page jeans and I actually didn't know about them until Pookie's husband told me about them. Do you ever get fashion burnout? That is a super good question. We obviously hear a lot about that. There was a really good conversation that one granary was starting recently where here, let's just read it. The post just says, in fashion, it is your job to sell a dream, not to live one. And then in the little description thing, they say, the daily lives of the people who work in fashion don't look anything like the images the industry produces. We all know this. The question is, should they? A problem seems to arise when we believe that this industry owes us happiness and that self-fulfillment will sprout automatically from the act of being associated with fashion. They say more, but that's what I'm going to say for now. So this is not referring to basic things like the payment of employees, health insurance. These things are just normal parts of having a job. If those things are not being met, then that's not good. But the idea that it's like, I work in fashion, and so every weekend I go to the Elias store and like, should I get it? It's so beautiful. Like, that's not ever going to be a reality for you. If you are choosing to work in fashion, it should be with the understanding that you're not going to be the like hard-hitting client at Dior. There are a lot of us in fashion that are so obsessed with clothes, and we're around the ways in which clothes are sold and stuff. We're around that process so much that like we can find stuff on clearance like super easily. This shirt is like what did this thing retail for? It was like $850. I got this on clearance. It was like literally the last one that was available, and I was like, give it to me now, let's go. But yeah, I mean, if your idea is that you're gonna have this big old like collection of Prada stuff, I don't know if that's gonna be able to happen unless you want to make a substantial sacrifice in your life. Like you have a 5-year-old cell phone, or you don't own a pet, or like the idea that you're gonna be making like $400,000 a year working in fashion is frankly unrealistic and it never happens. Do not conflate influencers. Daniela just said this. Do not conflate influencers with fashion jobs. Influencers' whole job is to like trick you. I mean, like literally like, all of the return policies on Essence just changed, and it's because a bunch of assholes were buying things from Essence and then wearing them for their like cool fit pics and then just returning all of it. And you hide the tags or you Photoshop them out or whatever, and you just do your cool photo shoot and then return everything, get all your money back, and then go buy a bunch of other stuff and then take a bunch of cool pictures. Their whole job as influencers is to trick you into thinking that they're just fabulously wealthy and like living this incredible life. A few of them are, but no, most influencers, if I'm being frank, most influencers right now are in pretty big trouble. That is a big part of like this fashion burnout thing. And I think it's maybe a little bit important. The reason why I bring that up to the question of do you ever get fashion burnout is that no, I don't ever get fashion burnout. I am fully obsessed with this stuff, and I am obsessed with it all the time. What is pretty important is that if you are experiencing the feeling of burnout, to identify why you're feeling that. Because I know that for myself, when I have experienced a kind of burnout, it wasn't about fashion. It was that, and luckily Daniela was there to be able to identify this. She was like, your whole schedule is that you wake up, you go to the gym very, very fast, and we need to hurry and get home, and you jump in the shower, and then you strap yourself to your laptop, and you won't let go of it for 12 or 14 hours. You take no days off, and you've been doing this for 5 years, and the one time I've seen you take any time off was when your brother got married, and even then you were frantically answering emails and treating it like you had to work. So that was what was burning me out. It actually wasn't that I didn't like shirts anymore. It was that I was forcing myself to work incredibly hard because I have the greatest job on earth. Like who could possibly complain about what I do? And my wonderful wife was able to say, you are allowed to take breaks when you have a job you like. And so it was that I was forcing my brain to do something that brains are not supposed to do. Yeah, even when she like forced me to take time off, which I really appreciate, I was still like getting on my phone and just like looking at runway shows because I love clothes. That's what I want to do in my free time. and maybe play video games a little bit. Try to identify what it is that is causing the burnout, because it really might not have anything to do with clothes. It might have to do with you just having an ultra shitty boss, in which case, I know it's scary, you might need to find a different job. It might be that you never let yourself go to sleep because you like doing coke and you're really into online poker. I don't know, like for whatever reason, you're not getting any sleep. It might be that you just still eat like a 15-year-old and you pretty much just only eat grilled cheese, and maybe we need to think about incorporating some other foods into our diet. There's a million reasons why this might be. Try to figure out what it is that's actually burning you out. I kind of doubt that it's beautiful runway shows and cool shirts. What is the worst color combination ever? I don't think there is a worst color combination by the nature of colors, since they're all colors. They're not like good or bad guys, but I would say that the hardest one to make work is white and pink. And the only reason I think that is because Thugger threw a party at one point for his birthday, and it was a white and pink party, and everyone was required to show up in white and pink. And I actually like helped dress 2 guys to go to that party, which I later was not invited to. Not that I could have gone. I didn't have any white and pink stuff left. You may be shocked to learn this. I'm not much of a party guy. I don't really go to a lot of parties. I feel like all fashion parties are either like, man, this party sucks. Like, this music is horrible, because all I listen to is like house music and techno. And then if it is like good music at this, I'm like, man, I wish that people that controlled my future in this industry weren't here, and that I wasn't feeling pressured to network with them, because I kind of want to throw down to this incredible music. So it's like there are 2 wolves inside of me, or inside of every party there are 2 wolves. The worst color combination is probably pink and white. What do you think it is?
Black and lime green, black and bright yellow, black and fluorescent pink, black and a really bright sky blue. Awful.
What makes it so? Is it that like you wanted to wear a bright color, but you chickened out, and so you tried to tone it down with some black or something?
No, what happened is you only own black shoes, really, because you live a very practical life. But then you decided to go out of your way to get something that's like really bright and fun and colorful, but could not commit to an actual color scheme. So what you're doing is sort of taking the easy way out. For example, if you're thinking of, oh, what pair of shoes should I put on a bright pink dress?
Mm-hmm.
Red shoes. That's a pretty decent color combination.
Really?
Yeah. I love red and pink. Red and pink is a beautiful color combination.
Okay.
It's basically tonal. You're just adding white for the pink, and so it like works in color theory. Same would go for like a sky blue. Just put like navy loafers. It's not.
You said a sky blue with navy loafers?
Yeah.
Okay. And so it feels like you were trying to do your little outfit project here, but you're not really ready to show this to anybody yet. And so you just sort of threw it on because you just needed some color in your outfit today. And this looks like it's half-assed. It's half-assed.
You didn't commit to the bit. And also.
Well, wait, it's not even committing to the bit. Like, would you agree? A lot of this is just like, bro, I don't have like $2,000 to spend on clothes every month. Like, there's a lot. Like, this is why Carla Rockmore is like just a god to me, because she has spent her whole life has been, I love clothes, I collect clothes, and because she just doesn't resell anything, she has this just infinite amount of stuff to draw from. And she's technically very good at like the specifics of styling. Who do you think we should be keeping our eyes on? So many designers are leaving. Frowny face. We have got to fix something about the fashion system of not focusing on new designers at all. I mean, it just seems like nobody cares. It's the weirdest thing in the world. Music, movies, everybody loves like going after new artists. Everybody's into it. But like for some reason with fashion, just no one likes it. The number 1 designer I am watching right now is Iray. It's spelled like this. It's pronounced Iray. We put out a video about that onto the Patreon. It's great. If you feel like you don't understand kind of what Iray is doing, you should go watch that video, I think. I feel like that would be really helpful. Patreon.com/BlissFoster, baby. Who else? Who do you like? I think I know who your number 1 is, but who is it?
Adrian Appiolazza at Moschino. We gotta pay attention to him.
Yeah, pretty much anybody. I don't know if he's wiped his Instagram or whatever, like started afresh, but yeah, he very clearly from his Instagram is deep into clothes. Like he is a fan of good fashion design. And I think Moschino is about to go through a little bit of a renaissance. Their first show was good. He had like no time to do that first show, if I remember correctly. There was like no time at all.
I couldn't believe he showed one.
Yeah, I also was a little bit surprised that he showed one with that short of time. But yeah, the next time he shows, I'm really excited to see it. It's going to be awesome. Mame Kuraguchi is another one that I always say. Mame is super good. She's a Japanese designer, and her clothing, it's moving maybe a little bit away from this, but what I've always said is that her clothing is either from the distant past or from the distant future, but it's hard to figure out which one. Mame is great, and I mean, for all of these designers, except for, unfortunately, the new Moschino stuff, we have reviews of all of these in the Paris Fashion Week videos. Mame's are always going to be in the women's. Drew's at Ire, those are always going to be in men's week ones. Satoshi, yeah, I don't understand. Okay, we need to talk about something. Hi, can we adjust the camera? Why am I the only one who is talking about Satoshi Kondo's work at Issey Miyake? It's really, 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 really good. And no one seems to want to discuss it. It is both clothes that look fantastic on people. They're incredibly wearable, whatever that means, but they're very easy to look good in. And the shows themselves are creative and conceptual triumphs of fashion. I don't understand why everyone is not making it where Issey Miyake is like the #1 show in Paris right now. But no one seems to talk about it in those terms. It always seems to be talked about as if it's like an afterthought, as if it's like a company that's just kind of running on the traditions of the founder of the house, but it's sort of recycling ideas. There are like almost no ideas that are being recycled just to recycle. I can't think of a single thing that's being recycled from the founders period there. Satoshi Kondo is doing some of the best work in Paris. You would do well to pay attention to it. That's all. Yeah, I mean, there's other people too, but it's just kind of like, I just don't understand why everyone is so. It seems like people are ignoring him on purpose, which is fucked up to me because he does such a good job. Oh yeah, Courrèges is another one where it's like, he's doing a really good job there. Courrèges is awesome. I especially like how he's able to use hard lines, geometric shapes, and just really compelling pattern cutting to just make this retro-futuristically modern thing happen. I mean, that on paper, just none of it works, but then you see it and you're like, I can't argue with it. Sohee Park, Miss Sohee, is incredible couturier that shows during Haute Couture Week in Paris, and she just crushes it every time. I think that Sohee Park is one of the best couturiers currently living, and Zomer is very good, yeah. Zomer is able to do extremely silly clothes in a very serious way that's, I feel like they are silly clothes that an adult could reasonably work into their life and still show up to work in them. Oh, Jeffrey B. Small, the most underrated designer alive. If you watch just one segment from the recent Paris Fashion Week video, it's this one. You should go watch the 5-minute segment where I have to take a 70-minute conversation with Jeffrey and crunch it down to 5 minutes. He will blow your mind. There was stuff in that interview that he showed me of his clothes that I did not realize was physically possible, and I'm not joking. Oh yeah, and nobody wants to talk about Yan Yan Vanessa. Everyone's like, oh, they're just like boring hippie clothes. They are not. Yan Yan is the most considered manufactured clothes that I've ever encountered anywhere.
People, I think, get too caught up in his look being like oversized to realize how much variety there is at Yan Yan.
Yep. There is it is not just like a tunic company. They very much do pretty much any type of clothes that you, I mean, if you want a skin tight t-shirt, I guess they don't make that or whatever, but like there is a wide variety of like Yan Yan looks that you could style all this into. On the runway, it's generally styled very much with the same voice because it's a brand. But no, I mean, the stuff I own from Yan Yan, I would give up only if you kill me. Have y'all heard of Gucci? I like Gucci. I don't feel like enough people know about Gucci. How do I deal with people's assumption that men in fashion are always gay? I don't know, dude. If someone is really giving you trouble about that, maybe make that person a little less of a presence in your life. What is your thought process when looking at a new collection or season? First things that you notice, how you go into it, expectations, etc. I try as hard as I can to ask, what is the goal of this runway show that I am looking at right now? Because if I go in wanting a haiku to be a novel, I'm going to have a bad time every single time. I need to just go into it with a clear head and ask, What are the goals of this piece of art? And then once I know what those goals are, how well did they achieve those goals? You seem like you are super tired of talking on camera, but do you have anything else that I can repeat for you that you think about when you walk in? Daniela, for anyone who doesn't know, half of the reviews that we write, half these episodes that you watch, half of them are written by Daniela. We split all of the writing load. Sometimes you do like 60% of the writing, to be honest. Just depends on kind of what we got going on. Daniela is also, just for anyone who missed the fucking memo, Daniela is also a fashion critic. We are fashion critics together. Which is why when brands don't invite my wife, it's not that you're like not letting my girlfriend come. It means that you're not letting the fashion critic that's probably writing your show's review, you're not letting her come. Which, you know, do whatever you want. She doesn't make a big deal out of it. I remember. And can't think of a single time my wife wasn't invited where I remember it fondly. So what do you think about when you go into runway shows? What I'm hearing from you is that the first impression of the runway show is exceptionally important. Look one is extremely... Okay, gotcha. I also try to mitigate my expectations depending on how big I know the company is. And so like, if I'm going to an independent, extremely small brand that is premiering their first runway show ever at Berlin Fashion Week, my expectations for that are wildly different than walking into Dior, obviously. It would be insane to not have those expectations adjusted. What I try to do is I try not to say like, oh my gosh, did this just sweep me up in the fantasy of it? Because in a lot of cases, the only way you can really sweep someone up into the fantasy of your runway show is if you're spending a lot of money on it. Not Dior level of money, but you can't do it with $300. It's just really difficult to do. And so what I have often found is the case is that instead of like being like, oh my gosh, did I just forget that I was in my seat because I'm just so wrapped up in it? I try to instead say, if this brand ends up later being the next Comme des Garçons, the next Maison Margiela, would I look back on this collection and go, man, you could really see it. Oh my gosh, like, cause it was kind of cool in its own way back then too. Or is it like, woo, rough start. I'm glad it got better later. And for some reason, I know that sounds vague, but like somehow that helps me kind of make up my mind about smaller companies' runway shows. Anything else to add? Thank you. Finishings. Safety pins don't go on a runway, y'all. I mean, if you're using them as like ERD used like these as decoration. This was not holding something together that wasn't finished, but y'all, maybe there is just something, I am open to the idea that I don't understand something. Cut the fucking look. If you have to safety pin something together, cut it. There have been some really great shows that we have gone to that we otherwise liked a lot. And then you just get sucked straight out of the immersion when you see a safety pin. Everything about what you're doing there is lost. Now, if you happen to hide a safety pin somewhere deep within a garment such that I cannot see it, no harm, no foul if I don't see it. If someone does not know how to hide a safety pin on a garment, that person shouldn't be touching clothes before they go onto a runway. I don't feel, am I like, is this too much? They're shiny. They like reflect light. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
You can spot it. Even if you're not looking to see it, it'll stick out to you. No one sits down, hopefully no one sits down at a runway show and is like, I'm on safety pin patrol, like where are the safety pins? But they're so obvious. And it's just, every single one that I have seen in person, I've been like, I could have hidden that. I could literally just, beneath the garment, you put the safety pin in here, and then the closure goes there instead of here. That's it. That's the secret to hiding safety pins. You're welcome. If it is that bad, cut the look. You can have a 43 look show instead of a 44 look show. Cut the look. If it's not ready and it's that unready, cut the look. Use it next season. Who cares? No one is keeping track of this other than you. Just finishings. I would like the clothes to generally be able to function as clothes, please. I don't think that's asking too much. Why do shoes have narrow toe boxes that force your toes to be scrunched together? This is a good question. It's because they look better. They look better like that. All of them look better if there are narrow toe boxes. Otherwise, it looks like clown shoes. I don't want clown shoes. I want cool shoes. I want little baby shoes for baby feet, but I want them for my feet. A lot of people just start incorporating comfort footwear into their wardrobe before they're being told by a doctor that they have to. And that way you can kind of learn to
incorporate that into your personal style without it feeling super forced when you're like 55. Cause yeah, I used to work at a shoe store, and man, I felt so bad for all of these middle-aged women that were coming in and just being like, well, so the bunions hurt every day, so just need some flats. Just need to finally give the pumps up. Those, I mean, heels are fine. Like wearing them occasionally is fine. You wear heels occasionally, but like for the most part, yeah, those things, they do what they say they do. They're tearing your feet up. What do you think about 3D fashion? Is it worth pursuing? If you wanted to, I just don't. So I'm confused about what 3D fashion does as far as like job creation. Because that's sort of the thing that you like need. It's like, okay, so being a stylist is a job. It's a very rare job. There are a few open positions for a full-time stylist, and there are open positions on the Chicago Bulls basketball team. But like, I don't see a lot of like 3D fashion artists. Are you talking about? You're talking about 3D fashion as in like digital, like we're not making anything. We're just making like software to make things, right? I just don't see a lot of jobs for that. I see a lot of little startups that almost kind of seem like they don't really have a way of monetizing or making a lot of money. It could be that I just don't understand some crucial element of this, but to me, the answer to like, is this worth pursuing is inherently a money question, and I'm just not seeing a lot of people just with fistfuls of money who are 3D fashion. Is 24 too old to start pursuing a career in the fashion industry? No, I didn't start till I was 30. Really like 31 is when this was enough to be like my job. Before this, I worked in retail and like hospitality and stuff. There was not a lot of cool stuff going on in my life. And really the retail jobs that I had were not like super duper cool retail jobs. They were just kind of showing up and turning the lights on and turning the music on and hanging out. Like not a lot happening. I think like music has gotten us fucked up about this, where it's like, you know, somebody blows up and is like making beats for Lil Yachty and they're like 17 and stuff. And like, in fashion, you're not really able to do anything when you're 24. I mean, sorry to the couple of 24-year-olds that like are doing a super good job, but I think you know that you're an outlier. No one is getting like put into a creative director chair when they're 24 years old. I understand that like Marc Jacobs was 22 or something, but like, yeah, it's no one. I think it's just because no one trusts super young people, because it's like your taste is like still. We talked about this a lot in a recent video, this one, but yeah, it's not really like a diss to young people. It's just sort of like you can't really get anything done until you're like in your mid to late 30s. But more than likely it's your 40s or your 50s when like things really start like taking off for you and the snowball is big enough to really roll on its own. No, 24 is not too old. Why would that be too old? That's crazy. Do you think it is more challenging to do good minimalism on a low budget? I do not think that minimalism is possible on a low budget. The whole thing that makes minimalism impactful is the quality of the materials and the quality of the make. And there's a really important difference that I heard this from Eugene Rabkin of Style Zeitgeist, who said that he heard it from Zam Barrett, the fashion designer, is that there's a difference between house-made and homemade is not good. No one is going to pay prices for homemade. Making something yourself does not immediately mean that you have made something that is good or worth spending any amount of money on. And so if you're doing minimalism, Jill Sander, for example, the whole reason that people gravitated towards Jill Sander wasn't because it was like, oh my gosh, what an elegant, perfect, beautiful idea for a sweater. It was because they said, damn, this is very, very high quality merino wool. That's kind of all you have to offer if it's minimalism. It's very, very hard to do minimalism well when you are a small company. But yeah, generally minimalism without quality is a trick, I think. What is your craziest dream to realize as a fashion journalist? If I'm being completely honest, it would just be the ability to do this forever. I feel, I try not to get like super serious about like what our role is here, but both of us, please correct me if I'm saying something different. We reaffirmed this together when we were about to go to sleep a couple weeks ago, but this is what we both feel we were born to do. We fully intend to do this for the rest of our lives. And right now, the money is not rest of our lives money. We fully intend to take it there, and you know, we can't do it with anything other than the help from you all. If you do get benefit out of this stuff, go get on the Patreon. Reflect the benefit that you get from these videos back into the Patreon. If that's $3 a month, it's $3 a month. If that is $15 a month, thank you so much. Thank you for the $3. All of it means a ton to us. Really, just signing up at all means the world. So that is the ultimate super great. What's the craziest dream as a fashion journalist? To do this forever. 30% of our industry got laid off recently. The only reason for sure we would have gotten fired if we worked for any Condé Nast publication, that's for sure. Writers are not valued in this industry at all. People who actually like have thoughts about things, it's all moved to ChatGPT now. So if this is something that you want to stick around, I guess someone could always ChatGPT me. But in the meantime, get on the fucking Patreon. Also interviewing Martin Margiela. If you're out there, King, I want you. If you only had to wear one brand for the rest of your life, who would it be? Who would it be?
Hermes.
Yeah, it's Hermes. If I just got a free shipment of those clothes every 6 months, I would. For now, it's just twillies and little doodads. But yeah, if I got a big old box of Hermes every couple of months, that'd be great. Danny just clarified something. Yeah, if that was being misconstrued as me like hinting at Hermes, first of all, yeah, they don't send that to anybody. Like no one gets to ask for Hermes and they just get sent a box of it. No one is given free Hermes. That's insane. There's no gifting of Hermes. It's actually one of the cornerstones of what makes them a luxury company, is that they're not giving things away for free. That is also a big part of why I like them so much, is that there is no, you'll never see Machine Gun Kelly wearing it. Could I ask to work for you in the future, maybe as an assistant, or I don't know, I just love your work and I'm a fashion student? That is so sweet that you would ask that. I am honored. That is lovely. Here's the deal. If you worked for me, I would just make you do all the stuff that I don't want to do and that Danny doesn't want to do. So it would just be you doing all of the worst stuff that we do. And that wouldn't be cool things like, oh my gosh, like I need you to open every Rick Owens show and I need you to find every example of times when the theme of like persistence emerges. That's my job. That's what I want to do because that's fun. That's cool stuff. You would be doing things like expenses. You would be logging expenses from Paris Fashion Week trips that you wouldn't go on. You would be gathering assets for videos that you would have no other involvement in. You would be doing rough cuts of videos, which means that all the times where I pause in this and say like, or I think, or I ask her a question or something, you would cut all that out. So it's just straight me talking. And boy, let me tell you, I'm not fun to edit. Editing things where I'm talking is what I would describe. Editing things where I'm talking is what I would describe as maddening. I can say, having interned for a lot of different people, interns are never allowed to do anything fun. Who is your best dressed aunt? Ha, had to love you. It's my Aunt Shell. There is only one aunt of mine that dresses well, and it's my Aunt Shell. Unless you're another aunt of mine that's watching this video, in which case you also dress so well that I couldn't mention you because, you know, you dress so well. Pew! Hey, if you haven't watched the new Paris Fashion Week video, because you're like waiting until the right time, just turn it on. Just like turn it on and skip around in it. Like just watch the thing. I feel like a lot of people put a lot of pressure on themselves to like watch it at the right time or watch it in the right way, or like, well, I need to be able to like have a clear head so I can take notes. Just start watching it. Just watch them. They're huge videos. They're super, super fun. That is like our highest priority when we're editing them, is that they are fun to watch. And Daniela does such a great job with filming that it's not hard to edit them in that way. I love you all a ton. Join the Patreon. Love you, mean it. Bye.